Hey everybody, this is Grace, and today's April 9th, 2020, and because of what's going on, stay at home, shelter in place kind of thing, this is how I'll be doing my videos for a while, however long. In this video, I want to talk about a variety of topics that some of the toxic people, let's just call them toxic people, I don't want to diagnose, but many of them do have like narcissistic or histrionic cluster B behaviors. And I'm not saying the disorder, but the behaviors. And some of the things they do, I have been jotting down things that over, who knows, maybe years, that I have a collection of little notes, things that I've jotted down about them. So I'm going to go through some of those in this video, and it'll be a variety, not just one topic. But basically the subject is about toxic people. Okay, to just get to it. A couple of times I wrote down this about the people who have that all or nothing kind of attitude. They might say things like most people, or none, say most, none, always, never. I call them most people. They think, but they say this not because they have any proof behind it, but they say it because they think it. They think that most people do this or that, or most people do, aren't this or that. Whatever it is, or it never happens, it always happens. And when there's no proof, there's no reason for that. And another person, they don't see it the same way, but they're certain that they were right because they've said most people. Now I have been watching some people who say this. And I got in the habit of coming really close to saying it myself. I think I did a few times. I said, oh, I've got to correct myself. But they generalize a lot, like just what I just said. But they tend to. Tend is a word maybe they should start to learn to use. But to have some proof behind it, not just their experience, unless they're stating this is just their experience. But they won't do that. They tend not to do that. See? It's very easy to get into that habit. But the ones that I know, they do not. They don't. They think that it's what they say because they feel like most people do that. Most people don't do that. Whatever it is the case to them. Okay, I remember when I was young, I used to say, and I think other people used to say, when I was, really young, when somebody would say, well, most people think that. And I say, how do you know? Do you know most people? That's when I was young. But for just like a second, they might pause. And then they tended to turn around and then say, find some other reason. Like it's just common sense. That is something that you hear a lot, that I have heard, not you, but I have heard a lot, is this whole thing of, it's just common sense. If you don't believe it, then you're just an idiot. That kind of attitude. No, prove it. I want proof. And I don't know if they even think or can tell that they're looking stupid. Okay, I wrote that down, looking stupid. When they say that, yeah, they, most people, it's just common sense. Those two, I'm telling you. Okay, and I really do think that it has increased. It has become more popular. As time has gone by in my life, I'm 56 years old, as time has gone by, I've seen it more and more often that people are saying this as though it's they have the concrete evidence. But when you ask them, no, they don't. They have no proof. It's because everybody knows it. That's also something. It's common sense and everybody knows that. No, they don't. Show me the data. I want to see it. Yeah. Okay, that's all I wrote on that. Let me move on to something else. Okay, as I said, I'll be jumping, from topics. And here's another one. It was, I just wrote down stunt your growth. Okay, no mile markers or milestones. These are, I wrote for narcissistic histrionic behaviors. Okay. But no, I know in my life I have seen this You know, it involves the whole part of infantilization, when they treat you like a child. You know, many people think that's just when a parent treats their actual child, like say the child is 10 years old, but they'll treat them like a 5-year-old. But it can be that it can also be in elders, like somebody with dementia, and people, you know, or maybe not even dementia, just elderly. They'll treat them like a child. But it can also be like your own brother or sister, you know, in your age group, people in your age group. It can be anybody. Yeah, but they can stunt your growth that way. That's one way. There are several ways, but one way is that by treating you like a child, they're keeping you down, okay? If you're not around enough other people that you can kind of, especially people your age, you know, like when you grow up, here at least, I'm sure it's many places, you attend school, you're in a grade with people around your own age, okay, until 12th grade. Then you get in college. It used to be more traditional that, you know, they go straight from high school into college or university, but nowadays there's non-traditional students, and so there's a mixture. And then when you go to work, it's like, whew, you know, all of a sudden you're with a variety of ages, you know, age groups, which is okay, you know, good. But if you are not around other people your age, you don't have something to gauge it, you know, how are other people your age group, if you don't have other people, what, you know, how they are behaving. So you might not be able to notice it, that you're, well, very younger, too much younger, too immature for your age, or something like that, or your growth hasn't gone there. Now, I'm not saying everybody should be, you know, all the same, but you might be able to tell, and all of this is not a one-size-fits-all, but you might be able to tell that something has happened and you haven't progressed as much. You know, when you think about that with children, of course, children, teenagers, young adults, but that can happen at any age. And this is, you know, I don't have any scientific research behind it. Actually, my degrees are in psychology and sociology. That kind of topic come up quite often. So, yeah, I'm not just, you know, because I think so. But anyway, but the other one is, say you're married to one that, you know, say doesn't want to have children, or does have children but wants them to be in some kind of a boarding school or something. And I know a lot of people don't have that kind of situation, but, you know, for those who do, some do. And you don't have the, like, you know, seeing that child reach milestones, yourself even reach milestones, or, you know, so nothing is like other people. I guess that's the best, you know, or the majority, or what is in your society, in your social world, what they are going through, what you see on TV, whatever it is, you gauge yours by. And it's just not like it. It's very non-traditional. I should know. I've been a non-traditional person, you know, all my life, really. Just life was not the same for me at all. But I do have an adrenal disorder, and that's only part of it. But yeah, you know, there's so many different ways they take something from you, and it doesn't allow for your personal growth, or they do something to you that doesn't allow for your personal growth. Okay, and it doesn't have to be a partner, or, you know, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. It can be your parent or parents, anybody. Okay, sibling, like I said, anybody. Okay, to move on, I have little ones here. I just wrote this. I mean, I don't know how long I wrote these. This one just says, rush from learning. I don't remember when I was a student at college and university, and I was a career student. And the professor would say, whatever professor it was, would say something that was something I had never heard of, or anything connected to it, and I would get a rush. I really would. Now, what I wrote down was that some people get that from Mean Girls. Yeah, you know, the adult Mean Girls. You know, usually that's the people I've seen like that. They have their behaviors are a blend of narcissistic, histrionic, and sadistic behaviors. I call it the dramatic dark triad. Yeah. And some people get that same kind of rush from that. They're not getting a rush from, learning from like a textbook or a class they're taking, or a how-to that is actually from somebody who is, a voice of authority on whatever topic it is. They just get it from Mean Girls, and Mean Girls know how to use that, and they know how to come up with, especially if they're like sheeple that like conspiracy theories. Okay, I don't even like calling them theories, but yeah, anyway, it wouldn't be, but yeah, they, some of them, yeah, that's where they get their, it's like that's where they get their education, and that's where, in my view, I could be wrong, but like they feel that there's some sort of growth it's in them, that they now have all this kind of knowledge, and they're getting it from somebody who's giving them misinformation, disinformation, conspiracies, and along this line, but they feel that it makes them, know more now. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Okay, and I also wrote down familiar voice. And I think that familiar voice is the actual voice of the person, I guess. That's what I meant. But also, it's somebody who says things that are familiar with, like, with other people around them. Or just their way of looking at it. Their own voice, in other words. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't know what I meant by this next note. It just says correct word, ? And it was spectrum and good or evil. I have no idea what I was thinking about that. But yeah, I know that spectrum, some people will call that, like their behaviors are on the spectrum. I see it more like as a continuum. Me. I do. Is there an end point? It's a question. Their behaviors, like these cluster Bs, is there an end point? It's a question. Think about it. Okay. All right. To move on again. Let's see. Okay, I wrote down that they don't trust LPCs. I don't know who I was talking about. And licensed professional counselors, the actual counselors. They're taught not to. Now, I know that when I was growing up, especially, it wasn't as popular thing to go to counseling, to seek counseling. And as time went by, it was made more okay. There wasn't such a stigma as there isn't now as it was back then when I was growing up. But I could see that, some people were taught, when we were taught, I think many people, but I lived in I didn't know everybody in the world, so I can't say everybody. But yeah, like in my community, there was such a stigma attached to it. My mother, I truly think she suffered from agoraphobia, but there was such a stigma to go and to seek an actual diagnose, I think. But her behaviors, I experienced agoraphobia when I was 28 and 33. Yeah, and then I got put on, I've mentioned this before, I got put on medication for type 2 diabetes, and that just went away. Never had it again. I'm not saying that is it for everybody. I'm not a healthcare professional or provider. Read the disclaimer in the description box below this video on YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, kind of got off topic a little bit. But anyway, many people I knew, they were taught not to trust any, they were called not quacks, but shrinks. Yeah, shrinks. I don't know if people still call them shrinks. But there was such a negative connotation to just the word, of course. But there was a whole feel that was bad. But now not so much. But so many people were taught that not to even trust them. Okay? And these days you can see people who, especially I have noticed, I don't know if you could, but I have noticed, people who are more narcissistic themselves, or histrionic, even any cluster B kind of behaviors, they may actually be diagnosed, I don't know. But they try to teach people not to trust them, and instead to trust, you got it. I've done video after video I went through a long phase of making video about people who say, no, it's better to go to the life coaches. No, it's not. Okay, not in my opinion at all. These are often, far too often, I've seen online. What I have seen personally is they're not at all somebody that should be trusted. It was all about the Benjamins with them. And they don't have education behind it, and that's needed, and they're basically trying to give counseling without having to go through all the education and so forth. Yeah, there's a lot. It depends on where you live. But anyway. Okay, I don't know why I wrote these two. This, like I say, some of these notes, yeah, they're from long ago. I wrote down baiting and won't listen. Okay. I don't know about the people that don't trust the LPCs. I have no idea. Okay, then I moved on to, wrote down about histrionics. All I wrote down was they don't catch the insults directed toward them. And they don't realize that when some of it's not insults, but it's people trying to correct them. Say they say something totally wrong, you know. And as for some people, they are insulting them, you know. And but they don't catch it. Some of them, not all of them. None of this, and this whole video is one size fits all. So I don't have to keep saying that. But it's that whole thing that somebody's actually insulting them. Somebody's actually telling them off, or somebody's actually telling them the correct thing, and that they might even see that as, oh, they're being funny. But they don't tend to catch it. No, that's not what it is. And I don't know, myself, I don't know if it's because it's too much of a bruise to their ego, or they just so firmly believe what they're saying, even though it's wrong, and the other person has proof or whatever, they so believe themselves that they can only see that somebody's joking, or just, you know, oh, blow off that person, they're a troll, they're a hater, they're a basher, they're whatever. Or what? Could be a variety of things, really. Okay, and to move on once again. Okay, I wrote down, to them it's funny or fun. Or both, for that matter. Yeah, I've experienced this in my life. Have you ever been in like a really bad situation, and it's like that other person, say somebody whose behaviors are a bit narcissistic or a bit abusive, okay, all around abusive, and it's like they're throwing water on a drowning person, and they think it's funny. They get, yeah, kind of, I don't know, sadistic in a way, and so many other things. What's in my mind, I've not expressed it yet, but yeah, they just get a big kick out of it, a thrill. Yeah, it's rather sadistic, and they laugh because they actually in their mind think that what they're doing is funny, and it's kind of like either they don't want to see, or they would never see, or they just don't see. They're not that smart, that they're hurting that other person. Really, seriously. But anyway, go back through to my notes. I wrote down that they're stuck at a child's age. You know, yeah, a child that sees things like, you know, say somebody has a what is the term for somebody who's phobia for spiders? I better not even try. Yeah. But and that kind of person, you know, like as a child, they know that the other kid is scared of spiders, so they go get a rubber spider and throw it on the person. But then when it becomes an adult, who's doing that? Okay, that's a child, which needs to be have that explained to them that they should not be doing that, corrected then, so they don't become this an adult. You know, or we can't say that one thing is going to change the world for that child. But yeah, but when an adult will do something like that, you know, that, yeah, and they still think it's funny. They're still stuck at that child's, you know, in childhood, when they probably maybe could have been that same way as a child. Yeah, we know all about psychopaths, and yeah, on down that line. Okay, I gave that example, and then I looked down at my notes, and that's an example in my notes. That's kind of weird. Stuff like that happens, but yeah. Okay, anyway, I wrote that they don't see it as bad at all, and they don't. I'm talking about the people I've known, I've seen do this. None of them have thought that, it seems like they don't even think that it could possibly be wrong in any way. That's scary. When you really get down to it, when you're dealing with somebody who's, especially their behaviors are rather psychopathic, um, all around, any of the cluster bees, really, any of them, in my experience in life, when their behaviors are this way, and some have been diagnosed, it's frightening because, to me, I don't know what would be to you, but when you see that, just pure evil come out in a way, pure evil. I'm going to use that, pure evil. Anyway, I look back at my notes, and it says, not all are like this. That's true. Not all do it either. That's true. And I wrote, if you tell them this, it probably won't change. Yeah. I guess there could be a good, yeah. That's the sad thing, and I've mentioned this recently, is when I was younger, and it could be that because we were younger, when, if somebody did something that was really negative, and there was that, I don't want to call it peer pressure, really, maybe so. People, in their group were saying, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that. You could see change. You could see them change, and them say, okay, I can't behave this way. If they're, but as time has gone by, it's more like there has been that pendulum swinging to where nobody is going to be, shamed. I think I should say that, shamed. And some people think that, yeah, I don't know about shame, but I would rather see it as disciplined, okay, really, that society itself, people in somebody's social world, we're disciplining one another. You're not just picking on one person, but to stay within certain parameters, certain, there are limits, and thou shall not kind of thing, and whatever society has decided, that's good or bad, is to stay within that. Now, some people know, and we all know, that sometimes things do need to change. I agree. I'm not a status quo person, but we're talking about somebody's behaviors are harmful to other people, this kind of thing. We're not talking about things that could be changed for the better, progress, but bad behaviors, harmful behaviors. Okay, anyway, there was a noise behind me. I don't know what it was. Some kind of automobile or maybe a motorcycle or something. Anyway, didn't sound like a regular motorcycle though. Anyway, and what else I wrote down under that was counselor. Don't know why. I guess just these are people should seek counseling. And I wrote no magical solution. And I think that is something that a lot of people I cannot say all, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of what I have seen, yeah, I should say that from the beginning. Anything I say is what I've seen. But they're looking for a magical solution, like, is there something that will change these people forever? And like I was saying, it used to be that people would change, but it could have been that we were younger or the times were younger, okay? And there wasn't so much, social media. There wasn't when I was young, that I know of, that where people could learn from others and see the others getting away with these bad behaviors, and see bad behaviors, see what other people are doing, and I don't know. But I think a lot of people are saying a lot that I have seen. I really need to start from the beginning and say stuff like that. But yeah, I see a lot of people saying this, that they want. How do you fix it? I don't think you can fix another person. I'm 99% sure you can't fix another person. And You know, you'll hear some people make that whole thing, you have to fix yourself. That's BS. No. And somebody else has a problem. It's not something about you. Like you have to fix yourself. And well, what are you going to fix in yourself if you run across somebody that's behaving in a bad way? You don't know the person. Maybe it's a new person comes to work. You're going to fix yourself? Why would people say that? There are things about all of us. Every person has something about themselves they could fix. There's no denying that. We're not perfect beings. Man, you know, we all make mistakes. I made it. It seems like I went through a little stage and made 2 or 3 mistakes in a row, you know, the other day. It was not enough information, and I just should have gotten the information first. I can change myself, you know, this kind of thing. Fix myself on that. Make sure I get that total information that I needed beforehand. So, anyway. But you see what I'm saying? I thought there's no magical fix. There's no pill to chill these people out. At least I don't think so. To make them suddenly start behaving in what some people would say normal way. Yeah. But a lot of people, you know, or even if they have a problem themselves, they think that there's a magical fix, like you go to a counselor and that the counselor is going to be able to fix you. And that's the way they see it, is fix them within 1 or 2 sessions. You know, I agree with that whole thought that I have heard for I don't know how many years of people saying it didn't take you 1 or 2 sessions, 1 or 2 hours, you know, it's usually like 50 minutes each time, didn't take you that short of a time for all this to happen. You think that's going to be how it's going to fix it? You know, not even 2 full hours is going to fix all these problems. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to take as long as it took for you to get there. I mean, I would be dead by the time I'm 56 years old. I would be dead by the time I got fixed. But what I'm saying is that's the kind of extreme. Some people think, oh, I go to a counselor 1 or 2 times and I've got all the skills and the knowledge and the whatevers I need, or read a self-help book. Now, I wasn't a child of the self-help book era, or not even a child, but an adult. In fact, I was quite a snob on this when I was a student. I was a career student, like I said, some call it professional student, in college and university, undergraduate and graduate school. And I was quite the snob. I mean, self-help books, no, that was not going to happen. I'm serious. I got out of it, but I still can't read them. I'll sit there and I'll read them and I'll find too much fault in them. Really, I will. And I didn't like that about myself. But I was a career student, so then I taught at college and university, so it's like, nope. You know. But anyway, but just wasn't, because some of it was so like cliche, so much common sense that's not that common. And just people, it was their own view of something, and other people would disagree, but you would not see. And I'm not a fan of people who think that just because they think, like this started off with, that they think something, that therefore it is. That it is concrete. It's all that it is. All people know it. You know, you can never prove it wrong. That kind of attitude, like I said, just not agreeing with that type. And anyway, I think that's enough for this one. I have plenty of notes I'm going through sitting out here. The weather is just so beautiful. Today's April 9th, like I said, April 9th. Yesterday, our temperature, the high that I saw was 95. Yeah, this is Texas, but that's a little bit early. Yeah. I mean, I've seen snow one time. We thought it was so just unreal. Unreal. But in April. But 95 degrees? I don't know. Today's high is supposed to be 70 something, and right now it's saying it's 74. So it's 10-12. We'll see. Anyway, wrapping this up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.